Business is extremely important to a country's economy because businesses provide both goods, services, and jobs.
It has been playing a vital role in the economic development of a nation and for the upliftment of living standard of the people.
That is why in today's business, we share insights that would aid in our business experiences.
For today's episode, let's talk about the Philippine Special Economic Zones. A special economic zone is an area in a country that is subject to unique economic regulations that differ from other regions of the same country. Special economic zones are located within a country's national borders, and their aims include increased trade balance, employment, increased investment, and job creation. In the Philippines, an agency responsible for overseeing and administrating incentives to developers or operators of and locators in world-class, ready to occupy, environment-friendly, secured and competitively priced special economic zones is the PEZA, or also known as the Philippine Economic Zone Authority. Philippine Economic Zone Authority, or PEZA, is a government agency in the Philippines attached to the DTI, or Department of Trade and Industry, created to help promote investments in the export-oriented manufacturing industry into the country by assisting investors in registering and facilitating their business operations and providing tax incentives.
The creation of PEZA, the development of special economic zones, and the very competitive incentives available to investments inside PEZA special economic zones are embodied in the Special Economic Zone Act of 1995, a law passed by the Philippine Congress. Special Economic Zone Act of 1999, or the Republic Act No. 7916, as amended by Republic Act No. 8748, is an act providing for the legal framework and mechanisms for the creation, operation, administration, and coordination of special economic zones in the Philippines, creating for this purpose the Philippine Economic Zone Authority, or PEZA, and for other purposes. Highlighted in the Act is that the government shall actively promote a sound and balanced industrial, economic, and social development of the country in order to provide jobs to the people, especially those in the rural areas, increase their productivity and their individual and family income, and thereby improve the level and quality of their living condition. Mainly, the purpose of this Act are as follows. First is to establish the legal framework and mechanisms for the integration, coordination, planning, and monitoring of special economic zones. Second is to transfer selected areas in the country into highly developed agro-industrial, industrial, commercial, tourist, banking, investment, and financial centers. Third is to promote the flow of investors, both foreign and local, into special economic zones. Next is to stimulate the repatriation of Filipino capital. Then, to promote financial and industrial cooperation between the Philippines and industrialized countries through technology-intensive industries. Lastly is to vest the special economic zones on certain areas thereof with the status of a separate customs territory within the framework of the Constitution and the national sovereignty and territorial integrity of the Philippines.
Defined in this act is the Special Economic Zone, or also known as the Ecozone.
Ecozones are selected areas with highly developed or which have the potential to be developed into: first, agro-industrial centers; second, industrial tourist or recreational centers; third, commercial centers; fourth, banking centers; fifth, investment centers; and lastly, financial centers. An ecozone may contain any or all of the following: industrial estates, export processing zones, free trade zones, and tourist recreational centers. An industrial estate refers to a tract of land subdivided and developed according to a comprehensive plan under a unified continuous management and with provision for basic infrastructure and utilities, with or without pre-built standard factory buildings and community facilities for the use of a community if industries. Export processing zones, on the other hand, are specialized industrial estates located physically and/or administratively outside the customs territory and predominantly oriented to export production. Free trade zones is an isolated policed area adjacent to a port of entry, such as seaport and/or airport, where imported goods may be unloaded for immediate transshipment or stored, repacked, sorted, mixed, or otherwise manipulated. However, movement of these imported goods from the free trade area to a non-free trade area in the territory shall be subject to customs and internal revenue rules and regulations. A tourist or recreational center refers to an area within the ecozone where tourist accommodation facilities such as hotels, apartels, tourist inns, pension houses, resorts, sports and recreational facilities are provided to render tourism services for both local and foreign tourists, travelers, and investors in accordance with the guidelines issued by PEZA.
Many identified ecozones are already outlined in this act. For the establishment of other ecozones, the following criteria must be satisfied.
First, the proposed area must be identified as a regional growth center in the medium-term Philippine Development Plan or the Regional Development Council. Next, the existence of required infrastructure in the proposed ecozone, such as roads, railways, telephones, ports, airports, etc., and the suitability and capacity of the proposed site to absorb such improvements. Next, the availability of water source and electric power supply for the use of the ecozone. Next, the extent of vacant lands available for industrial and commercial development and future expansion of the ecozone, as well as of lands adjacent to the ecozone available for development of residential areas for the ecozone workers. Next, the availability of skilled, semi-skilled, and non-skilled trainable labor force in and around the ecozone. Next, the area must have a significant incremental advantage over the existing ecozones and its potential profitability can be established. Next, the area must be strategically located. And lastly, the area must be situated where controls can easily be established to curtail smuggling activities.
We now proceed in the economic zones in the Philippines. According to PEZA, there are 379 operating economic zones all throughout the country as of November 30, 2017, and it can be broken down as follows: 74 manufacturing economic zones, 262 information technology parks or centers, 22 agro-industrial economic zones, 19 tourism economic zones, and 2 medical tourism parks or centers.
So that's it for the episode 1 of today's business.
Stay tuned to our channel for more important business concepts.
Please like this video and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.